Welcome to Vedakarna. Today, we'll explore the Traffic Violation and Compliance Dashboard, offering insights into traffic violations, compliance levels, and resolution trends. At the top, key metrics display total violations, violation resolution percent, active violation percent, and ignored violation percent, providing a clear compliance overview. On the left, the overview summary covers managed versus disabled environments, traffic rules enforced, and violation breakdown. In the center, an awareness section encourages safe driving with a reminder to follow traffic rules. Next, number of violation types. Breakdown highlights common infractions like red light violations, speeding, and helmet violations. To the right, active violations by city identifies cities with the highest ongoing violations. Further down, number of active and solved violations shows how quickly cases are resolved. On the right, solved violations compliance classifies resolved cases into severe, medium, and light violations. Next, violations by compliance percent breaks down the share of severe, medium, light, and compliant cases. Finally, violation status by compliance analyzes how different violation categories are managed over time. That's a quick overview. Now, let's dive into the step-by-step process of creating this dashboard in Excel. Let's start by preparing the data. First, rename the worksheet as Data. Then, go to the Home ribbon, select the data range, and click on Format as Table, choosing any table design. Next, go to the View tab, select Freeze Panes, and choose Freeze Top Row, so that the header row remains visible while scrolling. Set the zoom to 80% for better visibility. Remove grid lines for a cleaner view by deselecting the Grid Lines option under the View tab. Now, let's add a calculated column. For year, use the formula =year, select a data cell. With the data structured, let's build a pivot table to analyze it. Go to the Insert tab, click on Pivot Table, select From Table Range, and place the pivot table in a new worksheet. Rename the worksheet as Pivot. Remove grid lines for a cleaner view. Now, we will create pivot tables to begin the analysis. First, create a pivot table for the Overview and Key Metrics section. In the Pivot Table Fields pane, drag the following fields to the Values area: Sum of total violations, total rules, active violations, solved violations, ignored violations, environment managed, environment disabled. Set the table header as Overview and Key Metrics, and adjust the font color and size for better readability. Next, copy the pivot table and paste special values below it using the shortcut key Alt+E, S, V. Apply borders to structure the table neatly. In the next column, calculate active violations using the formula select active violations divided by total violations. Lock the total violations cell reference using $absolute reference. Then press Enter and drag the formula down for solved violations and ignored violations. Finally, convert the values into percentages to enhance clarity. Next, create a pivot table for number of violations by type. Copy the first pivot table and paste it. In the Pivot Table Fields pane, keep total violations in the Values area. Drag violation type to the Rows area. Rename the table header as Violations by Type for clarity. Adjust column widths for better readability. Next, create a pivot table for number of violations by city. Copy the pivot table and paste it. In the Pivot Table Fields pane, drag active violations to the Values area. drag city to the rows area. Click on the pivot table, go to More Sort Options, and set it to Ascending based on active violations. Go to Pivot Table Options and uncheck Autofit. Adjust column widths for better readability. Copy the pivot table and paste special values below it using the shortcut Alt+E+V. This will ensure static values while maintaining the data structure. Link row values to the pivot table. Change the active violations cell references and drag the formula down to update dynamically. Enter the formula equals G15 and H15. This will merge the city name with its corresponding active violations, displaying values like Tokyo 37. Add a helper column for comparison. In the helper column, use the formula to calculate the difference between active violations. Enter the formula equals if H15 greater than 100, 200 minus H15, 100 minus H15. This formula dynamically adjusts based on whether active violations exceed 100. Format the table for clarity. Apply borders to structure the table neatly. Rename the table header to Violations by City for better clarity. Next, create a pivot table for the number of active and solved. Copy the pivot table and paste it. Rename the table header as Number of Active and Solved TAT for clarity. In the Pivot Table Fields pane, drag active violations and solved violations to the Values area. Drag solving time to the Rows area. Next, create a pivot table for Solved by Compliance. Copy the pivot table and paste it. Rename the table header as Solved by Compliance for clarity. In the Pivot Table Fields pane, drag sum of total violations to the Values area. Drag compliance to the Rows area. Next, create a pivot table for Solved by Compliance percentage. Copy the pivot table and paste it. Rename the table header as Solved by Compliance percentage for clarity. In the Pivot Table Fields pane, drag compliance to the Rows area. Drag solved violations to the Values area. Then, go to Value Field Settings. Select Show Values As, and set it to % of grand total. Click on the pivot table and set it to descending based on solved violations. Adjust column widths for better readability. Next, create a pivot table for Violation Status by Compliance. Copy the pivot table and paste it. In the Pivot Table Fields pane, keep compliance in the Rows area. Drag active violations, solved violations, and ignored violations to the Values area. Then, go to Value Field Settings. Select Show Values As to No Calculation. And set all value fields to No Calculation. Adjust column widths for better readability. Now, with all pivot tables ready, let's move on to designing the dashboard layout. Add a new sheet and rename it Dashboard. Move the Dashboard tab to the left for easy access. Reduce the zoom level to 80% for better visibility. Go to the View tab and remove the grid lines for a cleaner look. Right-click on the tab and assign a color to differentiate it. Insert background shape. Go to the Insert tab under Illustrations and insert a rectangular shape for the background. Format the shape. Adjust the size to fit the entire background. Set the fill color as desired. Remove the outline for a cleaner appearance. Apply a shadow effect for a professional look. Add additional shapes for sections. Insert a new shape. Adjust its size. and set the fill color to white. Align it properly within the layout. Copy the shape for additional sections and paste them in the desired locations. Adjust the sizes accordingly to fit the layout properly. Copy the shape for additional sections and paste them in the desired locations. Let's add the icons for visualization and then the title. Insert the desired icons and position them appropriately on the dashboard. Adding the title, insert a text box and type Traffic Violation and Compliance Dashboard. Format the text box. Position the title appropriately on the dashboard for visibility and alignment. Adding key metrics elements. Insert a text box for key metric titles. Set No Shape Fill and No Shape Outline for a clean look. Type Total Violations. Format the text. Insert a pie chart for total violations. Go to the pivot table sheet. Select the data for total violations, then go to the Insert tab and choose Donut Chart. Right-click on the chart, select Data, and change the data source to total violations. Cut and paste the chart into the dashboard sheet. Align it within the key metric shape. Customize the chart. Change the desired chart color. Remove the outline and apply a shadow effect for a clean appearance. Set No Shape Fill for the chart. Remove the outline. In the center of the pie chart, add values. Add a text box to the center of the pie chart to display values. Link the text box to the appropriate value from the pivot table to ensure it updates dynamically. Format the values by adjusting the size and aligning them neatly at the center of the pie chart. Repeat the process for additional key metrics. For violation resolution percentage, active violations percentage, and ignored violations percentage, insert a pie chart for violation resolution percentage, select the data, then go to the Insert tab and choose Donut Chart. Cut and paste the chart into the dashboard sheet. Align it within the key metric shape. Customize the chart. Insert the corresponding text boxes, link the charts to their respective data in the pivot table, and format accordingly. Right-click on the chart, select Data, and change the data source to Active Violations Percentage. Customize the chart. Insert the corresponding text boxes. Link the charts to their respective data in the pivot table and format accordingly. An ignored violations percentage, repeat the process. Right-click on the chart, select Data, and change the data source to ignored violations percentage. Customize the chart. Link the charts to their respective data in the pivot table and format accordingly. By following these steps, your dashboard will have a well-organized and visually appealing key metrics section. Creating the Overview Summary section. Copy the text box from the previous step and paste it. Rename it to Overview Summary for clarity. Format the text box. Adjust the font, size, and color to match your design. Align the text appropriately, adding the first section, Environment under Managed and Disabled Details. Add another text box and type Environment. In the next text box, type Managed and insert appropriate icons for all sections. Better visualization. Align the text and icons to maintain a neat layout. Link the text box for Managed to the respective value in the pivot table, ensuring it updates dynamically. Add a text box for Disabled and link it to the disabled value from the pivot table. Next section, Total Rules section. Repeat the process for total rules. Add a text box for total rules and link it to the total rules value from the pivot table. Then, adding violation section. Add a text box for violation and create subsections for total violations. Solved violations, active violations, and ignored violations. Link each text box to the respective value from the pivot table for these categories. On the right side of the dashboard, insert an animated GIF video that promotes safe driving and reinforces the importance of following traffic rules. Above the GIF, add a text box and enter "Follow rules to avoid violations." Below the GIF, add another text box with "Stay safe." Center the animated GIF within the section. It plays automatically as part of the dashboard visualization. This enhances user engagement while delivering an interactive and visually impactful experience. Go to the pivot table and select the relevant table. Click Insert. Then choose Clustered Bar Chart. Open More Sort options and set it to ascending based on total violations. Cut and paste the chart into the dashboard. Hide all field buttons on the chart. Resize the chart to fit the layout properly. Set gap width to 44% for a compact view. Add data labels for better readability. Go to Label Options and set the label's position to inside end. Add a title, number of violations by type, and format it for clarity. Apply a shadow effect to improve visibility and enhance the chart's appearance. Apply distinct colors to each bar section for better visual separation. Next, insert a chart for active violations by city. Go to the pivot table and select the relevant table. Click Insert. Then choose Donut Chart. Cut and paste the chart into the dashboard. Resize the chart to fit the layout properly. Add a title, Active Violations by City, and format it for clarity. In Series Options, set the donut hole size to 0% and change the angle to 179 degrees. In the red section, remove Shape Fill then set the desired color. Remove Shape Fill and Outline for the entire chart for a cleaner look. Add text boxes. Link them to the appropriate values from the pivot table. And repeat the process for each section to display city names and active violations. Adjust alignment to maintain a structured layout. Next, insert a chart for Number of Active and Solved Violations by TAT. Go to the pivot table and select the relevant table. Click Insert, then choose Clustered Column Chart. Cut and paste the chart into the dashboard. Hide all field buttons on the chart. Set the legend position to bottom. Resize the chart to fit the layout properly. Add a title, Number of Active and Solved Violations, and format it for clarity. Go to Format Data Series. Series Options. Set solved violations to secondary axis. Click on the right side axis. Enter 400 in the maximum value box. Click on Active Violations column. Set gap width to 413% for a compact view. Apply a shadow effect for better visibility and enhanced presentation. Click on Solved Violations column. Set gap width to 150% for better distinction. Add data labels for better readability. Remove unnecessary axes and realign the chart for a clean layout. Apply desired colors to each section for clear differentiation. Apply a shadow effect to enhance visibility. Next, insert a chart for Solved Violations Compliance. Go to the pivot table and select the relevant table. Click Insert, then choose Clustered Bar Chart. Open More Sort options and set it to ascending based on total violations. Cut and paste the chart into the dashboard. Hide all field buttons on the chart. Add data labels for better readability. Resize the chart to fit the layout properly. Add a title, Solved Violations Compliance, and format it for clarity. Set gap width to 33% for a compact view. Apply a shadow effect to improve visibility and enhance the chart's appearance. Apply distinct colors to each bar section for better visual separation. Next, insert a chart for violations by compliance percentage. Go to the pivot table and select the relevant table. Click Insert, then choose Pie Chart. Hide all field buttons on the chart. Add data labels for better readability. Resize the chart to fit the layout properly. Remove shape fill and outline. Add a title, Violations by Compliance Percentage, and format it for clarity. Go to Label Options and check Category Name to display labels. Apply distinct colors to each section for better visual separation. Set label colors to white. And align labels neatly. Next, insert a chart for Violation Status by Compliance. Click Insert, then choose Clustered Column Chart. Cut and paste the chart into the dashboard. Hide all field buttons on the chart. Set the legend position to bottom. Add data labels for better readability. Resize the chart to fit the layout properly. Add a title, Violation Status by Compliance, and format it for clarity. Apply a shadow effect to improve visibility and enhance the chart's appearance. Set gap width to 150% for a compact view. Apply a shadow effect to improve visibility and enhance the chart's appearance. Apply distinct colors to each bar section for better visual separation. Adding slicers. Go back to the pivot table. Go to the Insert tab, click on Slicer, and select the field's year. Cut and paste the slicers into the dashboard. Resize and position them neatly. Format the slicers. Customize the slicer design to match the dashboard. Click Hide Items with no data for a cleaner display. Right-click the slicer and choose Report Connections to ensure all relevant fields are linked. Assigning Zoom macro for dashboard screen icon. Increase the zoom level to 100% for better visibility. Adjust the view by clicking the zoom buttons for a full screen display. Now our slicer setup and zoom functionality are complete. That completes the traffic violation and compliance dashboard. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more tutorials.